Here we go. Welcome back to Nick Lenz Comic Corner Classic Non-Classics. Excuse me. This is episode number 2906, and this is also the 2800 Doubleshot. We have basically a start of a very interesting run for the book, and except this run is very short because this is shorter than the other books. Yes, because the creative team of this book was pulled from this book after I think about 8-9 issues, I think it was. Very short period of time in this book. Because for some strange reason, I'll get to with the book, the creators admit. Okay, we have Shazam! Volume 1, Meet the Captain. And first off, high praise Mark Waid for doing this. Calling him the Captain. I'm like, good job! That's a better name than calling him Shazam, because that's the name of the wizard. That's the wizard. That's not this guy. This is Captain Marvel. Calling him the Captain is fine. I have no problem with calling him Captain. My friend Tivia loves the fact he's called the Captain. It's fine. As long as he's not called called Shazam, we're perfectly fine. Written by Mark Waid and Dan Moria. When this book was announced, I guess they were like, oh, cool. The same people who did Batman's Most Finest. Awesome. What's really true. Yes, and after 9 issues, DC pulled this team off the book. The reason is because they want a bigger project. And that big project was Absolute Power. Yep, so they pulled Mark Waid off of this very book with Dan Moria to do Absolute Power. Okay, so yeah, this book contains the first 6 issues of the Shazam. I believe this is the 4th or 5th. I think it's the 4th volume for Shazam. Yes. Oh, by the way, he's still based in Foster City. Okay. Yes, he still has the Gary Frank design that Gary Frank gave when New 52 started. Okay, fine. It does not ignore previous stuff established by him, except that, well, his family is having trouble. Now, variant covers for these issues are John Timms, Chris Sims, Matthew Lopes, Eric Dong Sever, Eric Cullen, and Mike Diodato with Trish Matho. So you have the Captain on a planet full of dinosaurs. Yeah, he's having a lot of fun, too. And then we show off the whole thing of, what Shazam stands for. S for Solomon, the wisdom of Solomon. H for the strength of Hercules. A for the stamina of Atlas. Which who Atlas is in this book, I'll show you off later. The power of Zeus, the courage of Achilles, and the speed of Mercury. Yes, despite the fact it's loose based in Greek mythology, we have 3 people graced in Greek. Mercury is actually the Roman god. So we have the spacecraft, and then we go to the Rocket Eternity, which for some reason is shaped like one of the diamonds of Eclipso. I have no idea why the Rocket Eternity, and then we have this closet of this very stuff that Billy Bass collected over here, this giant bowling alley, which is so funny. He's even playing like a video game, which is watching TV for research, where apparently it's a loose interpretation of the Batman 6 TV show, which is so funny. And then we have Billy and Freddy, where there's just Freddy has apparently lost his powers, and Mary's got her own power set when it comes to being Mary Marvel. And then we see, looks like Zeus and some other guy. And then we have turn back, and of course Billy does his own thing, does stuff at school. Taki Tani is in the book, which, wow, what was the last episode of Taki Tani in a Captain Mar book? He wasn't here when Jeff Johns wrote the book. No, for some reason he wasn't here. I don't remember him seeing the book, but here he is. Yeah, and then we had the book issue versus issue, and with him acting completely out of character, where he's acting completely irrational, and of course, what was that? Yeah, so then we have a dinosaur show up here, which is so fun, and we get more fun stuff here too, and then the Psycho Pirate shows up. Yes, the Psycho Pirate is here. Yep, and of course, Captain Marvel beats him up pretty easily, and takes on some other people, and of course, just scolds him, and then he's arrested. And then we cut to the first epilogue where we have Freddy look through the thing, and then runs into Mercury, and he's not the only one. And we see also the people who, and get this, I'll get to this Atlas, which design they use for Atlas, which is interesting to say the least, because I did not expect them to use this Atlas for him. So then we have where Mary is doing something and continues overnight terror Shazam, which actually is not in this trade. I'm surprised about that DC didn't include this trade. Everyone else included it. So yeah. Here is Hercules, Solomon, Zeus, Atlas, Mercury, and Achilles. Atlas, for some reason, they went with the Jack Kirby design. Not sure why Dan Moore went with that look for, but my guess is because basically DC kind of owns his character, despite the fact he is a Jack Kirby character. I guess he figured, oh, why not? So yeah. And apparently Metamorpho's got a page now, which is interesting. We have some school stuff, and then we have a flashback of Captain Marvel and Solomon Grundy. I'm like, that's awesome. Except it's a dream. Mary does her own thing. It doesn't say anything about the new champion Shazam. It's like, it's basically referencing that book, but they're not advertising it because DC was a big seller for them, because apparently they're terrible in sales. Here's a close to prove the fact. Yeah, it's Jack Kirby's Atlas. Yeah, and then of course they save a bus full of gorillas when they go back to Gorilla City by one of the gorillas named Ted, and of course this dinosaur wearing his suit is probably the auditors, and of course they go named Ted, classic Ted, and then so they go off to space, he goes to the moon, and then he runs into Gargax of the Doom Patrol. I'm like, Wade, you brought in a character which, as far as I can tell, I don't think this guy ever appeared post-Flashpoint, because here's the weird thing about this guy. This guy's been dead since the 80s. Cutberg killed him off in this final issue of Doom Patrol. Yeah, moving on here to issue 4, where he's apparently the Emperor of the Moon. Yeah. And of course, they're witnessing all this. And then we see Queen Bee. Yeah, that's interesting. Queen Bee, which I think this character last showed up in Supergirl. Yes. Then we have these gorillas there, and we have a brief appearance with the Justice League where Queen Bee is probably fight. Wade is referencing, the whole thing of, let's have it where Queen Bee has Justice League under control. That's a Silver Age story, because post-Flashpoint, she never did that. And then, for some reason, it seems like the Captain is hitting on Queen Bee, and it's I am the Queen of the Cosmos. If Grex ever finishes cobbling those smelly gorilla parts, the warp engines for my high ship, I'm working on it. Then go work on it. And then, of course, basically, about to stop, and then Billy transforms back, and then the gorillas are attacking, and of course they have to go to the moon, and we have more Fawcett stuff here in the final issue of this book, which is so awesome. Mary Marvel's here, and she's called Mary Marvel, not Shazam, Mary Marvel. Which, thank you, Wade, for doing that. That's our thank you for that. And fighting more gorillas. Yeah. And then you have Gargax just opens his mouth, looks like he breaks his jaw, and apparently unleashes this. So apparently the reason why he's chubby, he's got this drive inside of his gut the whole time. Yes. And then we have the kids basically break in. Their brothers and Ted. And then, of course, basically the characters show up and it's stop messing with mine. Of course, you have Billy just talking to them. And they have a conversation about this. And then to deal with it, we have the family dressed up as Bullet Girl, Spy Smasher, Mr. Atom, Eugene the Invincible, the new squad of dresses. Yes, the old team that debuted in Just Like America back in the 70s. Okay. Featuring costumes worn by old Fawcett characters. I'm like, that's cool. One Chance to a Duck. And of course, then he talks to Solomon, who is not a god, by the way, because Solomon was smart. So, of course. And, of course, have a conversation about being a little more lenient. And they'll think about it. Just go. And then everything is back normal. Of course, they fill out this paper. And then, of course, the book ends with appearance by Black Adam. I'm like, cool. That's awesome. I give this book a 10 out of 10. Amazing. Next up we have is Ultimate Invasion by Jonathan Hickman and Brian Hitch. Now, when I first heard about this book last year, I was like, this is interesting. We're bringing back the Ultiverse. Like, okay. Now, those of you curious, do these two creators have history of Ultiverse? They do. Hitch, Ultimates 1 and 2. Hickman, Ultimate Comics Ultimates. As a matter of fact, he's the one who created the whole thing of the... He actually has a lot of aspects of the Maker. He didn't create the Maker. That's a creation of Mark Millar, believe it or not. Yes, Mark Millar created them. So, for some reason, they don't have Ultimate Universe one-shot in here for some reason. They just have the 4 issues of Ultimate Universe. I don't know the reason for this. It's weird. So, you have the Maker just trying to undo. So, we have 2 months ago where these soldiers who just freed the Maker from this prison he's in, which they take over the body stuff, and then he just leaves a thing. Yeah, and then we have the whole Hickman stuff, which is this. Hickman loves these pages. He's obsessed with these pages. Like any book he writes, he always does this. He does Fantastic Four, both his Avenger books. He didn't do it for X-Men. I don't remember doing it for X-Men, I remember. No. I remember he did it for, just for Fantastic Four, Avengers, New Avengers. I know he did for Secret Wars, and that's it. That's really, he has a thing for connecting universes. So, yep. Then you have the Illuminati here, fighting the Maker, and then eventually they find them. And then, of course, yeah, it's the new designs of including the Charles Xavier Krakoa. So they're meeting in Necropolis, which is their base operation since, before Secret Wars. So they built a port that supposedly goes to the universe, but not really, goes with every universe, but not his own. And that's the last we see of the Illuminati. Also, for some reason, Doctor Strange has got a different look to him. Namor, I think it's looking from New Vaders. Reed is wearing, not the costume he's wearing in the Fantastic Four book by either, Dan Slott. He's wearing, an older costume. Iron Man, for some reason, his outfit, it's not the current book. I'm not sure where this is from. Xavier is current Xavier, and Black Panther has got this weird look for them. So then we have basically a recreation of the universe where the first thing that Maker does is prevent Peter being bitten by a spider, put the spider away, and that's the first issue ends. And then next issue, there's Guardian just bowing to him. The whole universe is kind of weird where, Jim Hammond's dead, Bucky's dead, most Fantastic Four, except for Reed, is dead, somehow captive. We have Iron Man flying around, except this is not Tony, this is Howard Stark, his father. And then we have this black guy with a beard, and this is apparently Obadiah Stane of this universe. Yes, which I can tell based upon the design, this is clearly based upon the movie version, except they color them black. Yeah, so we even have a Quinjet here. Yes, a Quinjet. The one featured from the movies. It's like Hickman is taking a lot of inspiration from the MCU for this. The Obadiah Stane was not played by a black guy. He was played by Jeff Bridges. In the case of Howard Stark, I would say he's loosely based upon the one that featured in... not the Iron flashback. I think it was from Captain America First Avenger. Oh yeah, the Hulk is basically a pacifist now. He's bald. And apparently the Rasputins are representing Russia. Interesting. So there's no Avengers in this world, no Fantastic Four, and no X-Men. The alternate version of these characters show up, try to kill him. And there's stuff with the city, and Obadiah is killed. And, by the way, Reed Richards' this world is Doctor Doom. Yes. Reed Richards' world is Doctor Doom. Of course, Reed, the Maker, for some reason, apparently his face can sort of... It's a weird thing with his body explained in this book where he can have his head blown off, he'd be perfectly fine. He can grow it back. Yeah, it's a weird thing he did to his body. And we just various stuff. Lots of chatting here, but it takes me. He loves doing this. People Catholic was divided up, but it's just how the series is shown here. I just recommend just checking the book out. But here's a cool visual right here. Reed Richards is Doctor Doom. Yeah, no mention of where Victor Von Doom is in this book. Yeah, no explanation there. So, and then we have this Kang show up. Now, who this Kang is, they do not reveal who he is. Oh, plus love this cover by Dan Kuna, which has look like Maria Hill, Sunfire, and a version of the Silver Samurai, which is interesting. So we have Reed and Howard work together, which is interesting, given the fact these two work together in Brotherhood of the Shield, and the Organization Shield in Hickman's Shield book. Yep, except they later retconned it was actually not Reed, it was actually Nathaniel. Yes, because Reed being there was confusing because of continuity. Howard being there is fine, but... So I get the reason why Hickman included Howard in here, because you were Howard in S.H.I.E.L.D., so fine. So, various people attacking here. For some reason, I'm not sure why, the Iron Man in this universe is basically the Iron Man of the Ultimate Universe. Yeah, it's the Iron Man Ultimate Universe, but worn by Howard's dog, not Tony. Tony is a teenager, and by the end of the book, Howard dies, and Tony becomes basically the new Iron Man, Iron Lad. Yes. And we have a bunch of stuff happening here. No Captain Britain. Oh yeah, and he becomes Howard, and then eventually by the end of the book, like, they find Ultimate Captain America on ice. Yeah, that's Ultimate Captain America. Which is a very interesting ending. I would have thought, though, Marvel would have included the, how should I put this? I would have thought, though, they would have included, the Ultimate Universe one-shot. You know, the prelude to all this stuff. But it's not in this trade. I do not know the reason for it. It's kind of weird. I don't know the explanation for it. It's just kind of odd, to say the least. But, good book. I enjoyed this. I give this a 9 out of 10. Okay, so that's pretty much it, particular view. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and do any of this like button. Well, that's pretty much it for videos tonight. I'll see you all later. Maybe another video tonight, okay? So, bye.